We're both.
Nice, nice, nice.
Hi there, Radavie.
Uh,
Hi. So good to be here with you both.
Good.
we're so glad you're here today. We look forward to what you're going to share with our audience today. We met online, and then we've had some wonderful conversation, and we found you so interesting of what you do to help others. And so today, let's take a little deeper dive into that and share a little bit about how you got started and who you love to help. And so tell us a little bit more about yourself, Radavie.
Well, as you were saying that, what came to me is to say that, you know, I have a passion to serve other people, but first I had to help myself. Why is that? Because, we all have been conditioned, and a lot of us go through worse wounding and trauma than some. But it doesn't matter whether it's huge or small. There is an emotional thing that is, and everything, the imprint stays in our bodies. And
Mhm.
when I went through my own self healing, I got to really understand the human conditioning. And that's when I realized my soul's agreement was to do exactly that with clients, with people. So that is how it all started.
That is so interesting. So, what did that, if I might dig a little deeper with you,
Sure.
um, when you were helping yourself and realizing, how did that happen for you? What happened?
Oh, okay. What comes to me is that when I was 4 years old and I went to Sunday school, I heard about God and Jesus, and that God was in heaven. And I was so fascinated because I know God was a very special being. And all throughout my young years, I wanted to know where heaven was. And so what happened, that sense of spirit, Christ and God, was like a tapestry that really ran through. It's like a silver thread cord, a golden light or so, that ran through the tapestry of my life. So in spite of my difficulties, in spite of my mental beliefs or I always had that underlying feeling of spirituality. And I started into a successful business, and based on that root thing of loving the divine, um, and I was intuitive. I was guided away from the successful business in the business world into really I had to confront the wounds and traumas that I had locked away in a closet, and I had to go through my self healing. And that's when the real understanding of why I'm here, why my soul is here, and the passion was so deep that there's nothing else I would could imagine doing. So now I say I serve spirit. I serve the spirit in everyone because we all have that sense of spirit in us.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you think, Radavie, some of the challenges of today's world are that people are very wounded and they've not healed, so they express themselves? Oh gosh, I would say badly behaved humans.
Really,
Yeah.
really, absolutely. And when you see someone with a reactive nature, it's because they're expressing something inside of them that has not been processed.
Mhm.
And as I look at the pandemic now and the situation the whole planet is going through, and how much it has disrupted people's lives. And I feel a lot of compassion for people who have been ill or passed away. But that disruption, if we look at it from another consciousness level, that disruption is about stopping where we have been going and said, and so this the emotions, the unexpressed stuff, it's coming up, and people are going through chaos, and it's really not just about what's the control that's happening on the planet, but it is the expression of unexpressed feelings that they've been holding. And I think if we can look at it like that, you know, people have a great opportunity to say, I don't want to feel this anymore. I want to move through and move out of all of these painful situations that I'm having.
So you help them get another perspective by releasing, is it emotion or actually feelings within the body? What's moving?
Okay, you know, I define feelings and emotions a little bit different. They're both different. There was a time that I wonder what's a feeling and what's emotion. You know, as we converse with friends, people, or whomever, um, all the language has a feeling that goes with it, and it's not it's not an emotional thing. So that's a feeling. We are always feeling things, you know, whether we recognize it or not. And then there are the emotions, the deep felt, you know, hearts. And those are the emotion needs to express itself, because I know from my own personal experience and my clients for over 30 odd years, when they hit those emotions, of course, you know, I take them back to a memory. They there's such a shift in them after the session is over.
Mm.
So the emotion really goes with the memory. And that's what happened with me. I had the memories of all my childhood stuff, and it was sitting right up here, and I couldn't get rid of it. And I thought, if I had a lobotomy, you know, I would just forget. I really did once. I thought, you know, it haunted me. And then the mystical moment came when I saw my child in front of me, my eyes wide open, sad, staring me right in my eyes. And I know the eyes is the eyes of the soul. And I don't want to see you, just go away, because I had walked away from her. And then 3 weeks later, I knew, no conversation, but I knew that I had to connect her with me. And I didn't know how to do it. I didn't
Mhm.
know anything about inner child work then. But I've discovered that the important thing was to put the emotions to the memory. That was the key for me. And so I went through a lot of deep healing. And I just wanted to tell the listeners too that a lot of people, you know, connect, you want to know about their past lives. When my own experience is that we have come and chosen situations in our lives to trigger some unresolved issues that we came in here with. And I would cry. I couldn't understand how all of these emotions, where did it stay in me? Where was it? There was so much. Oh my God! And I now know that a lot of it was unfinished business from the past. And
Mhm.
yeah.
Do you find that your clients are equally men and women or
Oh
more?
yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
have men, and I tell you, the men who come to me are pretty open. I mean,
Mhm.
they get to that stage of wanting to say, all right, now I know this woman does some in the child world, she does some healing work, she does some stuff, and I'm ready to look.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
And then do you also age range? Do you work with young people and older people as well?
It's really difficult for me to say, okay, this is my niche. I can't do
Mhm.
it because
Mhm.
everybody have been conditioned. I've
Mhm.
had a 72-year-old male client who never felt his emotions, and he was referred to me by a physician, and they were, I guess based on his history of physical situation and the rest of it, they thought you need to go look at something deeper. And he had never ever felt his emotion because he was strongly conditioned not to cry, not to feel it
Mhm.
growing up. And I was able to get him to feel, to really experience his emotions. And it was a very strange thing for him. It was a very, and I have to laugh at this because this was funny. He was married to a woman who was similar to him, a little stoic. And he goes home and his actions was different. Like, he's harsh at the cat, or maybe his energy was different. And he told me, she said, you know what, that woman you're going to, she should be paying you instead of you paying her. Look at how you're changing. She didn't like that. I just thought that was funny.
Oh my goodness. What's what's your youngest client that you've worked with?
You would never believe this. That young client was in utero, and the mother was 8 months pregnant.
Wow.
And the grandmother, who lives in North Carolina where I live, I don't know, she saw something about me, and intuitively she contacted me and said, I want you to work with this fetus and I thought, oh my God, I've never done that before. I think this is a classroom for me. And I tell you, I worked with that beautiful young boy for several years because he was, I forgot the name, but he had a very very unusual disease that most children die, and his lungs was filling up and his belly was retaining fluids. I forgot the name, and he had many many surgeries, and every time he was going to have surgery, they would call me, and it was so easy to connect with him and shift the energy, and it was, yeah, and I don't say, but they think that I helped to save his life. He's such a beautiful child now. So
That's
that
an amazing story.
I know.
Mhm. Mhm. So 30 years you've helped probably hundreds if not thousands of people.
Yeah, and in the beginning, I used to tell my clients, bring your young child in. I will work. I'll clear their energy for them. I'll clear, and this mother told me that her eldest boy was such a problem. I think he was what, 11. He was such a problem, and she was concerned about him. And he came in, and we had a few sessions, and I I feel that there was a an energy that was in him that needed to be cleared. And after that, his mother told me it was amazing. He would be the one to decide to get the laundry going before she comes home. I mean, totally shifted.
So he literally, by being cleared, he became what would you say?
A beautiful child.
A beautiful child and more open, maybe. Would that be a fair word? More open?
Absolutely. Whatever was in his body that was causing such a disruption was gone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's what it was.
Interesting. This is an odd question, but do you work with pets as well?
It's funny. I had a cat, 21 years. We we were really connected. When she's not feeling well, I would just work with her. Energy is energy.
Mm-hmm.
Everything has an energy. And the animals and the trees and all of that. And the rocks have energy. So,
Mm-hmm.
working in the energy field with an animal or a person, it's really not really that different.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so tell me, what would a session look like for a person? They come to you either in person or even you're doing this online as well, from what I understand.
I've been doing it, because some of my clients are not in this country. So we have to do it on Zoom. The most important thing is that I send them a very simple form. I want your name, address, and so on. But the most important part of the form is that I want you to write three things and the age of things that you feel has affected you. And because of my intuition, I would look at it, but I'm looking, but I'm not looking for my head. I'm looking. Um, I came into this world with some shamanic tendencies, so I was looking. I would look through it, and I would feel something, and it could be an emotion that was very deep for one particular thing, or I could look at it and said all of these relate to the word loss or a word something, and then we talk about that, and we would go into the body, and you would be surprised how much people are sensitive to what's in there. You'll be surprised.
Hmm.
They lead me into their body, and I have just the capabilities of feeling it, and also doing a soul retrieval, which means an aspect of themselves that was still um, separate from from who they are, which is what was the thing that was really causing great problems, like part of the child
Mm-hmm.
that was disconnected, and I would do a soul retrieval and have the ability to hear the child. And some of them are really glad to see me because, when they were growing up, they didn't have the love and compassion. And I come with a love, and they sense it. And so I'm able to hear them, and I will pass the message on. And then the most important thing before the client leaves, that they are able to hear that aspect of themselves. Because they have to go home and reparent the child or become friends with it and have a relationship with that part of them.
Mm-hmm.
So
So when you've worked with a client and then they might come once or twice or over a period of time, but when they feel complete, then does it mean they have the tools to continue the journey with their themselves and
yeah, that's a good question. What happens is the more we release the emotional imprints that keeps them into this belief or this distorted way of thinking, they have such a much they're more at ease to understand when they're feeling badly. And to me, one of the greatest things is to really teach them, let them understand about their what has happened, and how the personal development. It's really important to me that they know that. But the thing is, we are not finished evolving as long as we're in this physical body. And but we get to this place where we understand more, and we understand that when many times they've said to me, I've met someone who resembles who I used to be, the emotions, and they know the difference. I said, oh my God, that was me before I cleared out my energies.
That is fascinating when they could recognize their
Yes.
before self,
Yes.
and they recognize their after self by releasing the emotions. And is there journaling part of this? Is that so that they can keep track of how they were before?
You know, I think that individual, it's not a requirement for me, but that individual can journal and write and see. And when I do the retreat, I've done personal retreat, and what that means is only one person comes, and they're with me 4 days, and I work with them every day because I want to break the spell. And you just don't break the spell and then go home and then get back into the same old habit. So I really love that. No TV, no phone. The only thing they come with is a notepad to write all the stuff that they go through. And they all write things and comes. And it's a really beautiful, that's my favorite way of really serving people. And I'm thinking now that the pandemic and all of this, I'm thinking how I want to do that so that that retreat can occur at home. A long list of things that are don't do not think, and if someone is really really passionate to change their ways, they can do it. So I've been really thinking about doing those retreats, at home retreats.
I think that's fascinating, because I think just as you're speaking, I know several people that I can't wait to share this with, because
Mm,
you can tell sometimes by chatting with them that they have a block and they can't move forward, and they're not sure how to move forward.
yeah,
And if they did get to move forward, they'd feel so much better about themselves.
I've
And
seen it. I've just seen
mhm,
so many, many people,
mhm,
and then some people, they have a major session or a couple sessions and that they're done. But I don't do just one session. I have programs because I know that you can't just let go in one session. You understand, you're relieved, and you and so, oh my God, I'm doing much better. But the old ways, we have levels of where we have been conditioned and we have been hurt. And we have to get to those different levels to work through those situations. So
mhm. So it's kind of like unpeeling the onion. If
yeah,
you're
yeah, kind of. Yes.
Mhm,
Yet, it doesn't matter what a person comes to me with, like what's happening in their life today. It doesn't matter. Bring it because I can find somewhere that feeling has been there before and is
mhm,
commonly in the childhood.
mhm.
Yeah.
Well, this is so exciting. We're going to take a look at your website because you have something exciting for people, um, on your website.
Mm, mm, yeah. It's
So you have it's awaken, open the portal to spiritual awakening, free yourself from childhood trauma. And I see you have this amazing offer to schedule a complimentary 20-minute guidance. That sounds so exciting to do.
yes. That
Mhm.
and that on the front page, all they need to do, click it, get to the page where they put whatever it is they want to tell me, and it shoots it off and it comes to my email.
Well, that's wonderful. And then if they want to, is they have an email list that you have where you send out things as well?
You mean send out?
Do you have a regular posts that you do to?
Oh, I'm getting there.
Mhm.
I'm going to upgrade my website, and a lot of things are coming to me, and
Yeah.
I want to do some spiritual mentoring.
Hmm.
What that is that after the person has gone through to a certain level, releasing a lot of the childhood stuff, uh, the, now I can take them into another level of recognizing that they were never the identification that they identified in as a child or as an adult. So that is where the spiritual awakening comes up, beginning to experience that you're not who you thought you were.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Well, this has just been lovely to get to know you a little bit more and share with
Fabulous. Thank you very
so
much.
many people. Will be uh, gifted by your presence and you sharing with them how to uncover and release this childhood trauma that can be stopping them from doing what they really want to do, and they maybe not even know why.
Happens a lot.
Hmm.
Happens with a lot more people than they realize.
Hmm.
Because thinking like an adult, what it is, you have a stronger sense of intelligence, education, but I can guarantee that the pattern of who their behavior, distorted thinking, started in the childhood.
Hmm.
And I've commonly said the child is a wisdom keeper. You have to unveil the conditioning and allow the innocence to shine. And and that's another time we talk about the book that I've been asked to write, get messages from the innocence, the child,
Hmm.
before it was covered over. Oh my, I'm sorry.
That sounds
No,
like angels calling.
That's sweet.
Well, thank you so much, Radavie, for being on our show today and Storyvan TV. And we do hope to look forward to your book. We'll have to have another connection again when that happens. Let us know, and we'll discuss what you've written. And we look forward to that.
Oh, thank you so much. I really enjoyed being with both of you.
okay,
Hmm.
thank you.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Bye now.
Bye bye.